Hey kids, time for another excursion into more of the schlocky past horror films. Uh, Mad Monster is a 1942 Poverty Row answer to 1941's Universal classic, The Wolf Man, starring Lon Chaney Jr. as the title character. The Mad Monster in this, which is it is a werewolf movie, is Glenn Strange. Glenn Strange plays the handyman to a mad scientist played by George Zucco. Both, as we know, especially with the Glenn Strange, worked with Universal on uh, quite a few horror movies. Uh, this is the Poverty Row. Uh, I think part of the problem is because it's part of Poverty Row. More of the problem is probably the movie's too long. Even back then, just a 60-minute movie would have worked. But okay, well, let me get into the movie. But George Zucco plays a mad scientist, and they really emphasize that this guy's mad. Uh, uh, the movie starts out really kind of cool. It has a shot of this wolf howling outside. It's more of in a tropical area, probably like Louisiana. I don't think they even specify where they're at. Much different location than England at that time, but they still have foggy nights. uh, it, it goes into a laboratory where there's a wolf in a cage who's also howling. And of course, George Zucco is taunting the the wolf, saying, "Hey, you want to go out there, don't you? Ah, you can't." But basically, what he does is, according to the dialogue, there's a blood transfusion between the wolf and uh, Glenn Strange. Glenn Strange plays a handyman who is actually, special needs. Is rather slow. He's a gentle giant type of thing. That goes into the theme of bringing out, you know, a monster, somebody who's violent, who where certain elements will be added to this person, uh, and they could cause violence to people who don't deserve it, or like in the Wolfman, cause violence towards people that you love the most, like the uh, young woman and his father in that movie. This is less that. There is uh, a daughter for George Zucco who uh, Glenn Strange is fond of, but it's not on that level. Uh, but going back to the beginning, uh, partially to really emphasize the fact that this guy's nuts, George Zucco, is he successfully turns Glenn Strange into a werewolf. He has him tied down and stuff so he doesn't attack him. Uh, and then George Zucco ends up having a conversation with these scientists who doubted him and drove him out to be in isolation with his experiments. They're done like old-fashioned ghosts where you can't, you see through them. And right away, this guy is a little bit more madder than the average mad scientist. I thought that all was great. You don't have to wait for a wolf man. I mean, there's no action, but there he is. He changes in the thing, and this is like the opposite of a lot of werewolf movies that we get, especially as opposed to the Wolfman. This is not supernatural. This is it's hokum science, obviously, but it's science. But there's this old lady ranting about stuff like silver bullets and that it comes for the devil or whatever. The supernatural is represented, but only based on the ravings of this old lady, and it's not the same thing because Zucco makes a serum that counteracts and is an antidote to the serum from the blood of the wolf. What Zucco ends up doing is there's a plan on revenge against the doctors that discredited him and such. And of course, Zucco, every once in a while, really kind of chews the scenery as the madman. I mean, they really do emphasize that this guy is a mad scientist, But a lot of the problems with this movie, I mean, there's this set that's kind of a jungle-looking set, and they just pump a whole lot of the fog in there, which makes it look good. But a lot of it is, I mean, it has Glenn Strange walking around, almost wandering around way too much. What ends up happening, this is one of the things. Stuff does happen in this thing, but it was like padding of him wandering around. Zucco lets him out, and he ends up getting shot at and being shot, but he's okay. I don't know what happens when he becomes human later, but and he kills a kid, and but his main goal is Zucco's goal is to enact revenge on these scientists, which does happen. There's this love interest with the daughter who's a reporter who's trying to report on the happenings with the werewolf. But there's terrible pacing. The movie's too long. Zucco probably would have been better if he toned it down a bit from here to there. I mean, you already have him talking to the scientist. Works both as him being crazy and being exposition is being told to the audience, which was actually a good idea. But my main problem is it's too long. I know if I saw this as a kid, I would have loved it. It has the trappings that I like for these type of movies, but it's just this movie just feels like a mess, and I think it's because of the length mostly. I know Joe Dante doesn't like it. I read about that. Well, until next time, stay safe. Let's have a good time. Bye now.